What if I told you that in only 90 days you could become a version of yourself that even you would not recognize anymore, not in imagination, not someday in the future, but starting right now exactly from where you stand, with all your pain, with your doubts, and with the silent battles no one knows about? Because the truth is, you do not need a new year to begin again. You do not need a new relationship or a new job. You need one moment of pure honesty, a moment where you stop pretending you are fine and stop acting like you do not feel that something inside you wants change. This moment is not loud, it is not dramatic, it is quiet and powerful. It is the moment you stop performing a life that feels too small and start building a life that finally fits your soul. There is something deeply stoic in this kind of transformation. It is strong, it is steady, it is calm. It is not about noise, it is not about attention, it is about identity and discipline. Because without identity, there is no change, and without discipline, there is no transformation. In the next few moments, we will explore how to rebuild yourself from within, how to design micro-habits that reshape your mind, and how to create a glow-up so real that it changes how the world sees you, and more importantly, how you see yourself. So if you ever feel trapped inside an old version of who you used to be, if you have been waiting for a sign to begin again, this is that sign. And if you are ready to trade comfort for purpose, distraction for progress, and noise for meaning, then join this journey and become someone you are proud to meet. Let us begin. Many people wait for a sudden burst of motivation before they start, but real change does not begin with motivation. It begins with confrontation. Transformation starts in a quiet moment when you stop lying to yourself, when you meet your own truth face to face without fear, without excuses, without running. You must look at your life as it is, not just the parts that look good, not only the moments you share with others, but also the parts you hide, the thoughts you avoid, the regrets you bury under distraction. Those silent corners have power because they hold the truth about why you feel stuck. We all carry stories about who we think we are, stories created long ago, stories taught by pain, by people, by society, but those stories do not always serve us. Sometimes they trap us inside identities we have already outgrown. You cannot fix your life by decorating broken pieces. You fix your life by auditing it. You must face what is real, not what is comfortable. This level of honesty is rare. Most people are not ready for it, but you are. That is why you are still here. So ask yourself this simple question. What am I pretending not to know? What truth have I been avoiding? What habits are destroying my focus? What choices are draining my power? You know the answers. Your energy drops around certain people for a reason. You talk about your dreams more than you act on them for a reason. You feel a silent heaviness inside you for a reason. These are not random feelings, they are signals, warnings from your soul. Ignoring them does not protect you, it only delays the impact of avoiding change. You do not need more time, you need truth. Marcus Aurelius said, "If someone can show me I am wrong, I will change, because truth is my goal." That is the mindset required here. Not defensiveness, not self-denial, but hunger for what is real, because only truth can rebuild your life. Most people begin change the wrong way. They start with goals and visions and mood boards. But what is the use of a beautiful vision built on a weak foundation? If you do not repair what is broken inside, every dream you write will collapse. So do not start with goals. Start with an audit. 3 simple questions. What is working, what is not working, and what must change? Now, do not overthink it. Do not try to make it pretty. Write it as it is. Name the habits that poison your day. Name the people who drain your spirit. Name the lies you tell yourself to stay comfortable. Change does not begin with motivation, it begins with honesty. You cannot version of yourself keeps you small and tired, but redirecting that same energy can build a new life. Transform what you are not willing to confront, and you cannot confront what you refuse. To see this is not self-hate, this is self-respect. This is the courage to stop avoiding the truth Because when you stop defending your limitations, you begin designing your evolution, and that is true freedom. You do not need to destroy yourself to grow. You need to release the version of yourself that no longer aligns. The habits you have outgrown are not failures. They are signs you are evolving. The friendships that drain you are not evil. They simply reflect an older phase of your life. The dreams that no longer excite you are not lost. They served their purpose. They brought you here. Now you must move forward. Pretending takes energy. Acting like you are fine when you are not steals your power. Maintaining a fake. But first, you must be willing to tell yourself the truth. That is where the journey begins. Most people believe that change begins inside the mind. Yet for many, the true starting point is the environment, because your surroundings shape your energy. Your decisions and your identity. Take a slow look around your space. The piles of things you keep saying you will organize one day, the clothes you never wear yet still hold the unopened books that once felt exciting, but now only collect dust. These are not harmless objects. They are symbols of decisions you keep postponing. They are reminders of an old identity that still controls your present life. You may think it is only clutter, but it is proof of emotional delay. Proof that part of you is holding on to the past even though you are trying to move forward. This is not about chasing perfect minimalism. This is about removing noise so your mind can finally breathe. A cluttered space creates a cluttered mind, and a cluttered mind creates a scattered life when your surroundings are full of unfinished business. You carry silent stress. Each day you begin to accept that disorder is normal, and without noticing you start to build a life that matches it. Unfocused, messy, loud. You cannot build a new identity on top of an old environment. Every item in your space either supports your growth or slows it down. Most of the things around you were brought in by an older version of you, a version that felt fear, a version that wanted comfort more than growth, a version that did not think deeply about alignment. The moment you start removing what no longer fits you, something powerful happens. You reclaim your energy. You reclaim choice. You reclaim control. You see, clutter tricks your mind. It convinces you that you feel overwhelmed, when the truth is you are simply avoiding decisions. A drawer full of clothes you do not wear is not potential. It is avoidance. A desk full of random items is not creativity. It is delay. A kitchen stocked with food you do not need is not care. It is distraction. These things hold emotional weight. Unfinished projects, broken items, old paperwork. They are quiet reminders that you are delaying your evolution. But this is also where your transformation begins, because once you start cleaning your space, your mind follows. You are sending a clear signal to your subconscious. We are done living like this. We are making room for who we are becoming. This is not punishment. This is release. It is not about throwing away your past. It is about thanking it and letting it go, because it no longer serves the life you are building now. You deserve clarity. You deserve peace. You deserve fresh air in your mind and life. As you let go of physical clutter, you also begin letting go of emotional heaviness. The thoughts get lighter. The distractions disappear. Your direction becomes clearer. And soon you begin to realize you never needed more things to grow. You needed fewer things that hold you back. You needed fewer excuses, fewer delays, fewer emotional attachments to what no longer has value. The goal is not an empty space. The goal is an intentional life, a space that reflects your future, not your past. True growth begins with simple acts. Decide what belongs in your future, and release what does not open your wardrobe, and remove what makes you feel small. Clean your desk so your focus has room to breathe. Clear your phone of distractions so your mind can rest. Delete old files that keep you tied to outdated seasons of your life. The point is not to do everything today. The point is to begin. Choose one shelf, one drawer, 1 hour, one commitment, and remove what no longer serves a purpose. These small steps unlock momentum. Momentum awakens discipline, and discipline builds identity. When you walk into a clean, intentional space, your nervous system relaxes, your willpower rises, your energy returns. You begin to believe in change because you can see it. You can feel it. You are living inside it. This is why ancient Stoics valued simplicity, not for beauty, but for strength. Because when the outside is quiet, the inside becomes powerful. Order in your environment creates order in your life. It brings back self-control, and control builds self-trust, and self-trust is the foundation of transformation. Change does not begin with motivational speeches. It begins with decisions repeated daily. Prepare your environment for your future self. Make it ready for who you choose to become. Your space is your training ground. Shape it with purpose, and it will shape you in return. Most people believe that transforming the body is about appearance, but true physical transformation is not about how you look. It is about what you can prove to yourself through action. Every day, your body is the most honest reflection of your discipline, your choices, and your habits. It never lies. It shows exactly what you have tolerated. It carries the weight of every excuse, every skipped workout, every night you scrolled for hours instead of sleeping, every meal you ate to escape emotions instead of to fuel your purpose. This is not judgment. This is awareness. Your body is not your enemy. It is your greatest tool. It is your anchor. It is the most direct path to mental strength, because when your body becomes disciplined, your mind follows. You do not need a perfect gym. You do not need expensive equipment. You do not need motivation. You need proof. Proof that your word means something. Proof that you can do what you say. Proof that you can create momentum from nothing. Transformation starts when you no longer negotiate with yourself. It begins when you do the work, even when it is hard, even when it is boring, even when no one is watching. You do not need a six-pack to change your life. You need self-trust. You need evidence that when you command yourself to move, you move. This is how you repair your confidence. You do it through action. Confidence is not built by talking. Confidence is built by repeatedly keeping small promises to yourself. 1 push-up, 1 walk, 1 clean meal, 1 liter of water, 1 disciplined morning. These are not small acts. These are bricks, and brick by brick. You rebuild your identity until you no longer chase motivation, because discipline has become a part of who you are. Every time you choose effort over comfort, you strengthen your future self. Every time you train your body, you train your mind to endure discomfort, and growth lives in discomfort. Change requires resistance. That is why exercise is powerful. It is not only physical, it is spiritual. It teaches you to show up, even when you do not feel like it. It teaches you that pain can be progress. It teaches you that you can do more than you think. And once you realize that everything in your life begins to shift, you will speak differently, walk differently, and think differently, because you will know that you can depend on yourself, and that feeling is everything if your life feels stuck. Do not wait for motivation. Start with movement. Move your body and your mind will follow. Start small, stay consistent. Forget perfect routines. Do simple things with total commitment. Walk every morning, train for 30 minutes. Stretch, breathe, sweat. Earn your clarity through disciplined structure. Your day around your priorities. Fuel your body with intention. Treat your health as proof of your standards, because the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. If you are careless with your body, soon you become careless with your goals, careless with your time, and careless with your future. But when you discipline your body, you reclaim command over your life, and your entire identity begins to evolve. This is not about obsession. It is about alignment. It is about matching your actions with your purpose, your habits with your vision, and your life with your truth. This is your rebirth, and it will not happen by accident. It will happen by design, step by step, day by day, decision by decision. You are not waiting for the world to change. You are becoming the change. You are rebuilding your environment, your habits and your character, not in public, but in private, not for attention, but for evolution. and soon the world will feel the shift. They will see the glow. Your energy will speak before you do. Your presence will say, I built this life. I earned this peace. I forged this discipline. The rebrand is real, and it has already begun. Your next chapter is waiting, and it demands a stronger version of you. So stand up, reclaim your power, and begin now. Your future self is watching. Write a story they will be proud to live. You can say you want to change for the rest of your life, but until your actions match your words, it is only noise. What you do each day is the most honest reflection of who you are becoming. It is not who you say you are, but who you are in motion. You do not need a complicated plan or to chase perfection. Start smaller than that. Walk 20 minutes each day, not for cardio, but for presence, to reclaim the space between your thoughts. Drink more water, not for trends, but to remind yourself that your body deserves care. Prioritize sleep, not only because rest matters, but because you cannot lead yourself if you are always running on empty. These actions may feel simple, but when done consistently, they build self-respect. Every time you move, hydrate, or rest with intention, you are showing up now, not someday. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Your body is not a punishment, it is a partner. It is the tool through which your character becomes visible. When you build strength, you are not just changing your shape, you are reinforcing your standards. Every repetition is a vote for the person you want to become. Every drop of sweat is a quiet declaration that you are not done yet. You are training the vessel that will carry you into places you have never been, and that requires respect not only for aesthetics, but for endurance, ability, and grit. This is not about extremes or competing with others. It is about consistency and showing up for yourself. Habits stacked over time create real power. Hype fades, motivation disappears, but consistent action compounds. Your body becomes a home again, not a project to fix, but a tool to use, a signal to yourself and the world that you are no longer waiting. You are building and becoming through every deliberate act of motion. Discipline becomes visible. Transformation begins, and identity steps into the world quietly and powerfully, one action at a time. Time is identity. It is not just hours on a clock, but the expression of who you are becoming hour by hour, choice by choice. If you want to know yourself, look at your calendar. Where you place your minutes is where you place your values. Most people spend their days reacting instead of creating. They check their phones before checking in with themselves. They do what feels urgent, not what feels meaningful, without noticing their days fill with low-impact activity that drains the soul. It does not have to be that way. You can rewrite your life by rewriting your schedule, because your future is in how you plan the next 24 hours. Look at your calendar and ask if it reflects the person you want to become, or if it is full of things you said yes to out of habit, guilt, or distraction. Guard your time. Protect your hours. Reclaiming your schedule is the first act of reclaiming self-respect. A life that is scheduled around your priorities is a life lived with intention. Even 30 focused minutes can outweigh hours of distraction. Marcus Aurelius said, "Do not waste time arguing about what a good person should be one." Carl Jung said, "You are what you do, not what you say you will do." Identity is built through repeated action. Scheduling, reflection, movement, learning, and execution allows your values to live in reality instead of remaining ideas. Discipline does not kill spontaneity. It amplifies it by removing the things that do not matter and making space for the things that do. When your schedule aligns with your priorities, even your quietest days feel powerful. Structure does not limit freedom, it protects it. Your habits carry you when motivation fades. Showing up consistently hour by hour builds trust, confidence, and leadership. Your life follows your clarity. When your values have a place on your calendar, they stop being ideas and start becoming habits. and change becomes real week by week, hour by hour. Appearance is energy and form. Your posture, grooming, and presence speak before you ever open your mouth. Carl Jung said the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Dressing and carrying yourself with intention is not vanity, it is alignment. It is a daily act that reinforces your standards and reminds your nervous system that you are stepping into a higher version of yourself. You do not need expensive clothes or dramatic makeovers. You need clarity and consistency. You need to show up as the person you are becoming. Some people will not match your growth, and that is natural. Outgrowing relationships that no longer support your evolution is part of the journey. Loyalty to yourself comes first. You can love people and still walk away from what no longer aligns with your standards. Growth is not betrayal. Growth is alignment with your purpose. Every decision, every action compounds. Care for your body, train your mind, protect your energy, and move with intention. Consistency builds discipline. Discipline builds confidence. Confidence builds leadership. 1 hour, 1 day, 1 step at a time, you become reliable, strong, intentional, and unstoppable. Act even when motivation is gone. Show up even when no one is watching. Build a life that reflects your standards. Transformation is not just mental, it is physical. It is how you walk, speak, and carry yourself. It is how you dress and how you live each day with intention. You do not wait for perfection or permission. You do not wait for luck or opportunity. You act, you move, you become. Your future is already watching. Make it proud. Letting go of people is not easy. There is guilt, there is nostalgia, there is a part of you that will always wonder if you are too harsh, too selfish, or too quick to cut ties. Ask yourself this: do they make you feel alive or just known? There is a difference. Some people are comforting because they have memorized your wounds, but that comfort will cost you everything if you let it. Seneca said, associate with those who will make a better man of you. Your environment is not just where you live, it is who you spend your time with. If people mock your effort, doubt your goals, or roll their eyes at your growth, they have already made a decision. You just have not made yours yet. We often hold on to familiar faces because we fear being alone more than we fear staying stuck. The silence you feel when you let go is not emptiness. It is space. Space for alignment. Space for conversations that challenge you to rise, not retreat. Carl Jung said, loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important. Most of your energy has been spent translating your dreams to people who cannot understand. Letting go is not always loud. Sometimes it is distance. You stop calling, you stop explaining, you stop editing your progress to make others comfortable. You let their version of you fade, not because you are bitter, but because you are busy becoming someone who does not need external permission to evolve. Growth does not require arrogance, but it does require boundaries. You have to know the difference between someone holding you accountable and someone holding you back. Friends should feel like mirrors, but not mirrors that trap you in the past. Mirrors that reflect your potential. Mirrors that make you stand taller, not shrink. Sometimes the greatest act of self-respect is walking away without explanation. Not everyone can handle your healing, your peace, or your consistency when it exposes their avoidance. That is okay. Let them stay where they are. You will lose some people, but you will also find people waiting to meet this version of you. People who speak the language of vision, who do not need you to shrink to feel secure, who walk with you toward who you are becoming. You will not find them by clinging to the past. Stay loyal to your comfort or stay loyal to your calling. Let old connections fade with grace. Thank them for the role they played, but do not look back. You are remembering yourself. You do not owe anyone an explanation for your growth. You can change without broadcasting a justification. Real transformation does not require applause. It requires courage. The courage to be seen in motion, to live in the space where you are no longer who you were, but not yet fully who you are becoming. That space is uncomfortable but necessary. Identity is forged not in fantasies but in public practice. Most people wait until they feel confident, until results are visible, until no one questions them. Life rarely gives permission to become someone new. You have to give it to yourself. The fastest way to lock in change is to move as if it has already happened, as if you are already the person you envision. You do not need to feel ready. You only need to act in alignment with your future. That is not pretending. That is preparing. Be willing to be misunderstood. Reinvention looks fake to people still stuck in old patterns. They do not see your future. They only see their version of your past. They project, they question, they doubt. That is not your concern. Focus on building, not explaining. Let people talk. Let them wonder who you are. You already know. You are done being watered down. You practice your values out loud. You say no to what drains you. You speak clearly even when uncertain. You post what aligns with your new direction even if it gets fewer likes. You show up to the gym not to impress anyone but to prove discipline lives here now. You start the business, the channel, or the podcast not because you feel prepared, but because you are done waiting for perfect conditions. Reinvention is messy. That is what makes it real. Every day you practice being this next version of yourself in public through actions, words, and choices. People may not understand. Some never will. That is fine. This is not a performance. It is a process. It requires vulnerability, being seen, trying, being visible before results are obvious. Visibility is part of transformation. It teaches you to hold your ground when the old world no longer fits and the new has not arrived. There is power in doing it anyway, in showing up without permission, in letting your new identity take shape in full view of a world not ready. That is leadership. Leadership is being real, going where others are afraid to go. Daring to change publicly removes the illusion that perfection is required before progress. Let go of the need to explain. People will catch up or they will not. Your job is to walk, to evolve, and to keep becoming. Socrates said, "Know thyself." Knowing is practice. The quiet choices, the discipline, the repeated actions are the true transformation. Transformation is messy, slow, and almost invisible. Keep going, not louder but deeper, not for applause but to live. That is how identity is carved and how your future self will know you became the person you were meant to be. Thanks for watching.